Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Woof. Woof indeed, Wolfie. Woof indeed. Let us... Oh yes, that's right, the ice. The ice that was melting. I remember now, but yeah, let's break out of the hidey hole and secure the doorway. I suppose I only really need to technically put one block of dirt. Nothing can crawl through there. Unless, like, a skeleton were hanging out outside and shooting me as I respawn. But that's never happened, so we won't need to worry about it. So let's grab Wolfie, I think... Hello, pig. Yeah, this was not facing west. This way is west. We have to pay attention. Oh, God! Oh, okay. Speak of the devil. Look at that guy. All right, leave Wolfie alone. There you go. Good job, you jerk. They didn't have their advanced pathfinding that they do in the new version of the game, but they do take fall damage like they do in the latest version of the game. But regardless, here we are, episode 20... What is it? Episode 207 of Farlands or Busts. Right now we have raised this season $11,626 over at farlandsorbust.com for Child's Play charity. So keep going over there and using the chip-in widget on the homepage to check our progress and to donate if you would like to also. That would be much appreciated. I did notice yesterday the chip-in website, like the entire chip-in website, was down momentarily, which naturally takes down the chip-in widget on the homepage. So if that happens, if instead of the chip-in widget on the homepage you see just a big blank white space, not to be confused with the blank white space that YouTube has introduced to the right-hand side of your YouTube homepage, but a blank white space where the chip-in widget should be. It's just probably because the chip-in website's down and you could come back at your leisure to check if it's back. I've also gotten questions where people say, oh, hey, the dollar amount doesn't match what you said, or it doesn't seem to have updated. That's because the chip-in widget is embedded via Flash. Yoink. And Flash generally likes to take advantage of your browser cache, so if you have already visited it, and then you come back and visit it, instead of grabbing the latest version of the Flash file, it will just show you what you've already seen. So that usually just takes a hard refresh of your browser, which is a shift, hold down shift when you refresh, that's called a hard refresh. Or perhaps going into your options and deleting your internet cache. Your browser cache will get you the most updated numbers. Whoops. But yeah, there that goes. So I appreciate all the continued support for that. Indeed. I'm trying to think. Not much else really new has been happening for me. I mean, I've really been trying to focus on making more frequent videos, as you know, with the Farlands or Busts. And I've got 2 alternating time slots earlier in the days for... Hi, Wolfie. Bye, Wolfie. Oh, there he is. I'm like, where did you go? You're just stuck behind a block. We've got the Dirt 3 and Tomb Raider Lara Croft. And I know I mentioned I was looking for a new racing game. I really wanted to, and I was really planning on. If you look back at my channel history, I played a few times Toka Race Driver 3, which is actually the game previous to Grid by Codemasters, except it's a much, much better game. Toka Race Driver 3 is a great game. It didn't really restrict you to this kind of new model that we've been experiencing with Dirt 3 and Dirt Showdown, where you have to go through the different predefined... There was kind of a game mode like that, but you had to go through the predefined, those old diamonds, or, the weird animated menus. A little bit more linear and restrictive that way. With Toka Race Driver 3, there was, so many different kinds of racing, and they actually had actual race courses as well, like the Nürburgring and famous race courses, Laguna Seca and stuff. But, anything from your Formula 1 racers to monster trucks, go-karts, and then the supercars, the V8 supercars, just everything in between, dirt racing. That's a great game. Unfortunately, I've in my research before trying to install it and play it, have discovered that it doesn't run on Windows 7. Something to do with the DRM. Everybody knows the benefits of DRM. The DRM system that they employed for Toka Race Driver 3 just simply doesn't function, so therefore the game doesn't function. There are apparently workarounds, but I don't particularly like having to, edit my registry, do this or that, or install another third-party program to fool the DRM. It just becomes too far complicated, and to be honest, if they feel at the time that they wanted to use some restricted DRM, then I guess I'm just not going to be playing the game, so suck it! But yeah, I actually did play through that game when I had my Windows XP machine, and then when I started my channel I still had Windows XP, so I was able to play a few episodes of it. But that was a really good racing game. I want to play that. So I don't know, maybe we'll keep trying Dirt 3, maybe I'll go back to Grid. I was playing Grid for a while, but I kind of dropped that because I started running into the same issues that I ran into with the Dirt games, where you end up getting kind of locked into a situation where you have to do this kind of race style, even though you're not really a fan. So, who knows? Who knows? I think it's funny, Vintage Beef is doing, as I mentioned before, his Forza Horizon, and he's doing the Rally DLC, but I think he might have rage quit the Rally DLC because it seems impossibly difficult. It's one of those things. It's like, I could lower the difficulty or whatever, but I don't want to really do that. Like, what do I have to do to go faster? It's like, I don't understand what anybody could do short of memorizing the tracks and practice that could make this any more of a, finishing better than 15th place or something like that. So, good luck to Beef with whatever upcoming racing game decisions he has to make, but I'll keep trying Dirt 3. I'll give it a chance. Indeed. But yeah, that just came up as something I was looking at. That's really disappointing that I can't play Toka Race Driver 3. And also, those of you who follow Nerd Cubed, damn, this whole landscape is just being difficult. Sorry. Nerd Cubed, just as I was about to start recording, uploaded. He's playing Tomb Raider 3, which is one of the original series that was out on the PlayStation 1, because he got it during... They were on sale during the Steam sale. I actually own, somebody gifted me on GOG, the original trilogy, Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, but I did not have luck getting them to play nice or getting them to record nice, so unfortunately I will not be able to take advantage of that, but he's figured it out apparently, at least with Tomb Raider 3. Of them, that was probably the most easy to get to run. But we got like all the biomes here. Woof, we do. But yeah, that was funny. I was watching that. It's like an hour-long video he put up. But so some fond memories of Tomb Raider 3, and I'm like, oh, I remember where that secret is. Or, no, you're doing it wrong. That sort of thing. So, old video games that unfortunately do not run on our modern machines anymore. But yeah, that's really all. I haven't gone out. It's really freezing cold out. It's freezing cold in here. Frickin' cheap, non-airproof windows in my place. It's just like, oh look, my curtains are waving in the wind even though my windows are closed. That's an interesting conundrum. I used to put up those plastic shrink wrap things that you put over your windows, and they actually do kind of help, but they're such a hassle. And then at the end of the winter you have to take them down. Holy mackerel, what is this chasm? Wolfie's gonna go investigate. Oh, actually far less dramatic once I'm actually down here. Yep. I think there was oh no, it's just a shadow. It's just a shadow. Thought it was a skeleton. Just a shadow. That, however, is a spawner. Well done. Random happenstance. All right, well, let's actually have Wolfie sit. I'm gonna sleep here, and then in the morning we will investigate whatever spawny situation we have here, because I know I passed one up in the last episode. So we'll get our our spawn. Although, let's sleep before things start to spawn, I guess is the problem I should have indicated. Damn, I should have lit that up. All right, quickly now. Darkness. Oh, oh, excuse me, that one got stuck. It's like I said, it's very cold. I have the heat running, so it's very dry in here. So doing the snores is a little bit more effort. I should take a sip of water before trying that skeleton spawner at that. Oh, and there are some still alive. What do we got? I'm starting to run up on a stack of wheat that I'm not using. I suppose I could eat, I guess the other... Yeah. Iron, that's another thing I was thinking. And bread. Well, fantastic. Just redundant. I'll leave you there. Is there anything else I don't need? Not really. Alright, well, let's get that half heart of damage back from my little trip and fall, and grab Wolfie and bid adieu to the skeletons. Skeletor. Oh, dang. Was I talking about something before the night that now I have forgotten? Talking about racing games, old games, Tomb Raider. No, I think we covered it all, did we not? I could answer some questions, some topics that you all have given me in the comments below. Daniel's 95. I said it weird because there's two N. Two N? Because there is two N's there. Or I said it weird just because I cannot properly speak. Asked, can you recommend websites to get astronomy news? I can, and... Oh. Hello. Excuse me. I can indeed. Quite a few websites. I tend to follow blogs, particularly. Ones with RSS feeds. I mean, I suppose there is the big magazines. Astronomy magazine and Sky and Telescope are out there. I don't particularly subscribe to them, nor do I really read their websites. They are sort of those old media companies that have not fared so well keeping up with the content of... Is that whole thing levitating? Please say it is. They haven't kept up with the new media ways of distributing information and publishing. But those exist. Ah, it's connected. Oh, that would have been nice. Oh well. Still pretty magical, is it not? So, there's those. But as far as astronomy news, one that a blog I follow quite frequently, and I've mentioned many times before, is Dr. Phil Plait, the Bad Astronomer. He's at the Bad Astronomy blog. He's recently been picked up by Slate, so he's on the Slate blog's website. But yeah, just search Bad Astronomy blog and you'll find him. He does a lot of interesting stuff with kind of dispelling the misconception. See, I told you I can't speak. Whoa! Dark and magical pit of halfway sort of bottomless destiny. You know, he'll take stories in the news and kind of bring them more back into the realm of reality and science. I mean, like the latest thing about Kepler, the Kepler Space Telescope has found has confirmed that there are 100 billion planets in our galaxy. He's like, well, okay, that's true. The scientists, or some scientists who have used the Kepler data, have adjusted their equations and have the kind of the estimated amount of planets in our solar system based on the small, you can take the small region in Cygnus that the Kepler telescope looks at, multiply that by how many other stars there are in the rest of the sky in our stellar galaxy, and come up with that number. Sure, but a lot of the headlines you see on the news sites say confirmed, or it's confirmed that they found this many Earth-like planet. So that's, we realize these news outlets have to have their view counts with their headlines, but Phil Plait tends to bring that more into the realm of things. He also talks a lot about issues regarding the skeptic community and general science awareness in both our everyday lives and politics and policy and things like that. Also space flight. He tends to hit on, and he's generally a very funny writer. He's also friends with a lot of other prominent, Bill Nye the Science Guy, the Mythbusters, prominent, I guess you could call them, internet and similarly interests personalities, I guess we could say. So yeah, that's the Bad Astronomy blog. If you're particularly interested in, say, meteor showers or the northern lights, the site to go for that would be Space. Bleh. Gosh, I cannot talk today. I'm like, woof, I'm chewing on marbles. Marbles, I say. Spaceweather.com talks a lot about, they have all on their side columns a whole bunch of charts and graphs and information about what the current KP index and probability for northern lights are, and they take user-submitted images of, meteors that have been seen, meteor showers, space station flyovers. They have a lot of interesting stuff about solar flares, obviously, which are related to the northern lights and things like that. So spaceweather.com is a really cool thing. It updates daily with breaking news and such. So there's that website. If you're looking at solar system exploration, planetary sciences, the Planetary Society blog is a very good blog. You don't have to be a member of the Planetary Society, although that always I guess helps. They're a little bit more of a kind of an, I don't know if you call them an activist, but they try to push forth more funding for NASA planetary sciences, not necessarily manned space flight at the moment, but they talk, obviously they're very much interested in the interplanetary probes, Cassini, and the ones visiting all the comets and the asteroids recently, and Juno and things like that. Right now the head of the Planetary Society is Bill Nye, Dr. Bill Nye, the science guy. But I think they have multiple bloggers. Another one is Emily Ladquala. Never know how to say her last name, but she's a planetary scientist who now writes for them, and that's the Planetary Society blog. Wired Science is actually pretty good. They have kind of they'll talk a lot about astronomy and space stuff, but also they include other science news and stuff. So there's the Wired Science blog, obviously the NASA website. It's kind of hard to find your way around that because there's so much going on, but if you're obviously looking for information on Curiosity or finding, you want to download the raw images from Cassini that they just got within the last hour, you want to go to the NASA website and search that stuff there. What else? Specifically spaceflight, spaceflightnow.com. They cover pretty much as many launches as they can. They'll bring you the live feed, and not just manned launches. I mean, obviously they follow the SpaceX and the Soyuz launches to the space station and things like that, but also unmanned launches. A lot of the Ariane launches, which are, they're basically just launching communication satellites, cable satellites, and sometimes military or scientific payloads, but they'll bring you live updates for that, and it's really cool to follow them on Twitter and be like, oh, there's an Ariane launch, or an Atlas V that's launching this communication satellite, coming up, and it's pretty cool to watch. Even if it's not a manned mission, you're watching a rocket launch into outer space, into orbit around the Earth. So that's really cool. I would recommend Spaceflight Now, and they also cover progress of different missions, perhaps if there is a delay or an issue with a certain thing, or the industry. They're talking a lot about, can't remember if it was today or tomorrow, there's supposed to be an announcement where the company Bigelow Aerospace, they are a private company that is developing technology for inflatable space modules. And that basically means instead of, what's currently in the International Space Station, they're all hard-sided, aluminum or metal, the big tin can sort of looking things. Instead, make an inflatable. It's a lot more lightweight, and then you can get a lot more volume out of it, and it's just as strong, and you inflate it to the proper internal pressure that humans can survive in, and you have yourself pretty much a module. And they're talking about partnering up with NASA to send one of those inflatable modules up to the space station. They already actually have a space station, Bigelow. What am I looking for? My bed and my dirt. They actually already have launched their own space station. Unmanned. It's kind of just a test, but it's been up for quite a while. And inflated and stuff, and they have cameras on the inside. I think it's still orbiting, I believe, just to test, obviously, their technology of having the safety and whatnot, the internal climate and stuff of an inflatable module. So that's really cool. So yeah, the Spaceflight Now will cover stuff like that as well. But yeah, speaking of space and the stars, I don't believe we'll have time to watch them. There's sort of a few. There's a few. Enjoy them while you can, because I'm going to sleep. And the neighbors are homeless. That was I was about to say, that was actually, I overcame the difficulty of snoring and had a good one there, but then the crunching of the metal against metal. Wolfie, I want to make sure you... There we go, okay. I'm always worried in situations like this. Sometimes I assume he might be able to spawn, but like underneath the ice, that would be a terrible, terrible happenstance. But yeah, I think those are all... There's a lot more that I follow. I mean, there's tumblers that you can follow. I mean, there's people, just individuals who work. I forgot what his Tumblr was. But he's a guy he works in aerospace for one of these private corporations, sending satellites and things to space. And I think I actually found him via other like style blogs, because he's also interested in kind of the... like myself, dressing a little bit, I guess, nicer, I guess you could call it, and stuff like that. So I think that's how I found him. But he also posts a bunch of things about spaceflight history. Obviously, he's interested in that. So a whole bunch of good sources around the web, as long as you check them out and make sure they're legitimate. I'm sure there are just as many crazy UFO conspiracy theorists. I feel like going up there. Careful, Wolfie. I'm going to do a little bit of mountain climbing. So please, be careful yourself, and let's just try... Oh god, yeah, well, I didn't think that was going to go too well. Woo! We did it! Wolfie did not, however. Come on. There we go. Sorry, I wanted to get adventurous, and then you ended up twisting your ankle. Let's go. Whoa, easy there, Jumpy McJumpington. So yeah, I think that covers kind of the space things going on. I mean, there's also websites that deal with, people putting up reviews of astronomy telescope equipment and things like that. There's Cloudy Nights is one of those that just sticks out in my mind. Forum, but they also have, people posting more longer length blog style reviews of this new telescope or that. They also have a classified section, blah, 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 blah. The internet, connecting people of all different types of interests and situations. Woof indeed. Woof indeed! Up. Hello. I feel like the land, while beautiful and amazing, is really making it hard for me to make progress today. Let me answer another question. This will be an astronomy-related episode, I suppose. Stetifier asked, what first inspired you in astronomy, and how did you first learn to use telescopes? I've told this story before. I was always pretty much interested in it. Even as a kid, I think it was only like one grade in elementary school where during science we had, like 2 or 3 days where we covered astronomy. So that was always like, ooh, space is always exciting and stuff like that. I always had an interest in the space shuttles and, stuff like that. I really didn't have anybody in my family or close to me who was also interested in it, so I really didn't have that many influences or people who could further allow a small child, Kurt, to further explore this interest of his, so it kind of went by the wayside throughout middle and high school, as many things might, because other things tend to take the forefront during those trying, difficult, pubescent years. So kind of lost it there, but just afterwards, coming out of college and looking for interests, I still found myself interested in space flight, the International Space Station. I realized on the internet, I'm like, hey, I found heavensabove.com. That's another website, segue, that you can look up and watch for satellite flyovers. I'm like, oh, you can see the International Space Station? I made time to actually watch a space station fly over, and I'm like, nah. So that was kind of like as an adult, that was the moment I could say where I'm like, okay, I'm into space stuff now again. So then I started the research astronomy clubs in my area, attended a few, and that is how I learned, as you asked, how to use telescopes and such. Is joining and attending meetings and events of astronomy clubs, and getting advice from the people who have been doing it for many, many decades there, and then purchasing my own telescope, and learning how to use it and stuff like that. So I've unfortunately kind of lost a little bit of contact with that, having, once again, shifting my priorities to this channel, YouTube, the charity, and other such things. Which happens, we cannot ever be expected to have just one thing. Hello, I am Kurt, and I do YouTube. So we all have varying interests and roles we can play, so, every once in a while things tend to take not precedent, I guess, but take attention away from other things. So hopefully I might be able to get back into that sort of thing. But it's a time-consuming hobby, because the entirety of the main enjoyment of the hobby takes place much after dark, and then you tend to lose the next day because you've been up till sunrise at the dark site, doing this or that with your telescope and stuff like that. So, yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So that I guess would be the answer to that. The link to the info, I guess, is an interesting username, but asked, what is your favorite galaxy? Well, aside from the Milky Way galaxy, because we can actually look at it from the inside. From the inside! Woof! I don't know. Andromeda is obviously very easy to look at and find, but it's very difficult, since it is so large on our sky, through a telescope to get anything out of. I do like the Pinwheel Galaxy. That, at a dark site, is actually one of the few that's far enough away where you can fit it all within your eyepiece, but it's close enough where you can actually, if you have a good enough telescope with the large aperture and dark enough skies, you can actually make out the spiral arms with your own eye. Otherwise, a lot of the other galaxies that you might find in the sky just end up looking like gray smudges, which is cool. It's still, it's a whole entire galaxy of billions and billions of stars, but they'll just look like gray smudges until you get into astrophotography and you can really bring out the contrast and the arms and that sort of thing. But I'm not getting into that. So the Whirlpool Galaxy, that's the one. I get them confused. There are many, many galaxies. I think that's the one off the handle of the Big Dipper. I don't remember the Messier number offhand, but yeah, that one's pretty good. Pretty good. And that's the one that actually has a companion, and it's face on, so it looks like a whirlpool, obviously, and has another bright dot on the outside. But yeah, once again, trying to ask me my favorite anything is a a difficult proposition indeed. Oop, come on, come on. Oh, I guess Headcrab4 kind of asked that question already. That's where that came up. I knew somebody had asked it or something, and I wasn't paying attention, I guess. Headcrab4 asked, you like to talk about astronomy? My voice is not working. You like to talk about astronomy, but haven't talked much about your endeavors lately. Are you getting less interested? Is this one of your I'm going to put it on hold for a while hobbies? Yeah, as I kind of already kind of answered that, it is one of those things that has gone on hold. Haven't, I guess, in almost a year now, even been to any astronomy club events or meetings or anything like that. One of those things. You know, try to make room for this or that, and other things get pushed out of the way. But yeah, I'm still definitely interested. I still own my telescopes. Still haven't sold that one that I kept talking about wanting to sell, but might happen eventually. And yeah, that's one of the things. It's possible that it's because of the telescopes that I do own. An 8-inch Dobsonian, which is rather large, and then a 6-inch Maksudov Cassegrain, another pretty technically compact, but another pretty large piece of equipment. It's not exactly like I can. It's dark out and clear out. Let's go plop the telescope on the lawn and enjoy some astronomy. It's generally a much larger ordeal when you have to, with that equipment anyway, when you have to decide to do some stargazing. So I might need to, once I do get back into dryness. Once I do get back into the astronomy things, I might have to consider an alternate telescope setup. But yeah, as the sun sets and the stars begin to come out for Wolfie to enjoy, we are going to dig the final hidey hole ever. No, of episode 207. Our lands are bust. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Bloop. And a bloop. All right. Let's give ourselves some room to breathe, and let's remind everybody that you can go to farlandsorbust.com to contribute to Child's Play charity using the chip-in widget. Hopefully, we have a little bit more stable chip-in widget availability in the coming days. You can check that out, and I've been attempting to remember to on the little Farlands or Bust thing, put the annotations are now allowing us to actually put links to sites. Oh no! Oh no! I don't have enough wood for 3 beds. That's going to be awkward in the morning. I'm going to get to the... I bet you I'm going to forget, and I'm going to get to the second night of the next episode, and I'm going to be like, I don't have a bed. And then we'll be lost and confused. Should make for an interesting episode, so stay tuned for the next one, episode 208. I really apologize. I don't know why I'm like all tongue-twisted today, and now I feel like an itch in my nose. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I don't know if you can tell I'm trying to fight it, but I'm just going to end this episode while I'm still have half of your respect. So, thanks again for watching. I appreciate every comment and question to give me something to talk about, every like, favorite, and subscription. Thank you for coming along and helping out with Child's Play charity. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.